Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are about to start round number 2 of week 4 of the PSS5. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth by Jared Doucette. How's it going, Jared?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I guess you're feeling good now after just playing with your match against Alvaro, and things went in your favor. So
Yeah,
that's
I
that.
gotta keep winning to prove Mike Flores wrong.
I was
You
to
know
say
that, you know.
it's always nice, like if you're jumping in the booth and if you got like you're down in the dumps because you didn't win your match, and so at least you're a better mood that way. But either way, we have a
Yes.
matchup between Will Hurst and Jeff White. So let's jump down and just take a look at what decks they have available.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I am looking at Will Hurst. He has brought Fluctuator, Sly, and Stasis, while Jeff White has Red Green Goblins, Replenish, and Survival Elves. So
Can I do the Flint thing and guess what what,
yes,
what,
yes,
what they're
yes, you
playing?
can. Yep.
Okay. I think for Will Hurst, this is a slam dunk. Bring in the flinchuator.
Okay.
I think there's no counter spells on the side of Jeff White, and there's very little interaction. So as far as to stop the fluctuator from going off. So I think this is a slam dunk fluctuator week for Will Hurst.
Okay. Do you want to make a prediction for Jeff?
For Jeff, I don't know. It's a tough one for him. I mean, against like the Sly, I think I think he's bringing a replenish because I don't think this like he can't play against Sly versus goblins or elves isn't great. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's great. And I think he also I yeah, I'm gonna guess replenish just because the other ones aren't the best against stasis either.
Okay. We will jump down. We will see our first deck revealed. Will be playing his Sly list. So,
Whoa.
well,
Okay.
okay. I mean, I really haven't looked at the schedules. I know like the players tell me every week, so I don't like ever like think
Yeah.
about it. But a lot of I think what people try and do is try and save decks for certain matchups. So while I do
That's
agree
that.
with what you said that like the fluctuator looks really good on paper against um against Jeff's lists, it might be like a very similar thing down in the following week, or the week after that.
Mhm.
So that might be something, or maybe you're just trying to throw people off. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
for me personally, what I did was I looked what I think I went to my third week of this rotation and said, what do I want available for that,
okay,
and then kind of worked back from there.
yep. Try and
So
shape it so that you have, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's how I worked, and then must be probably Will's thinking too. I thought the fluctuator would have a very good matchup, and you just take the win when you can get it with that deck because the matchups are usually pretty polarizing.
Hmm.
So, but that's just my theory. But I mean, I'm excited to always watch a slide deck. So
Yep. And
we'll see how
this
it goes.
like Will is not afraid to try different things with his decks, and this
That's
is
for
kind
sure.
of an experimentation. I mean, like there are some unusual things about this slide list if you're real familiar with Premodern. There's Wastelands, which we don't always see, but the absence of fetch lands and still playing Grim Lavamancer is something that I'm not sure about. I don't understand the theory if he's like really prioritizing his life, but even then, like I don't know. So there are some different. I mean, like Price of Progress in the main deck is something that is kind of interesting in this format, where like you know what potential decks your opponent has, and like
Hmm.
that I think is a big draw, just because like certain decks like don't want to see Price of Progress, and that kind of like makes them worried. I will say there is a little bit of tension when you have Wasteland and Price of Progress, but whatever. Either way, the slide deck, as unconventional as this list is still super powerful, and like these small changes like don't always come up, and the deck is still like very potent. So
Right.
just because this list is not traditional, it doesn't mean it's a bad deck. That's not what I try to say at all. So
No, definitely not.
yeah, so let's look at Jeff, and he's bringing the Red Green Goblins list. So
Oh, I was way off. Flint is so much better than I am at
uh,
this.
I don't like honestly. I don't know how Flint does it. So because there's definitely times that like I'm just like I would have got this wrong. But
Yeah.
anyways, this is a matchup that I know Will is pretty well versed in, at least with a traditional list. Uh, I think the slide deck is favored, but I think I don't know if it's Will being pessimistic about things. He thinks it's a lot closer than my experience has been. But definitely the goblins can do something. One thing that's kind of problematic is like your lackeys just like are just not as potent as they normally are in a matchup, just because the red deck has so many ways to
Well,
get rid of them.
well, as I just saw, like my lackey was never going to connect, but I still have to make him have
Yeah.
it. So, but I think this is going to be, you know, It's a classic matchup. I think it's all about how, if Jeff can, land the ringleaders to start getting the card advantage,
Mhm.
but also like he needs to put the slide deck away because it does turn the corner and go face pretty quick.
Yeah,
So,
I guess I'll say like if you force the slide deck to use removal spells at certain times, so like Goblin Lackey, Goblin War Chief, and then I get those are the two like threats in a sense that like give you a mana advantage. Like Lackey connecting
hmm
would be huge, and then War Chief just haste and reducing the cost are really important. So the slide deck is going to prioritize killing those, but then if the slide deck is using resources to kill goblins, then Ringleader gets more impactful, or like Goblin Matron to find something else can have a lot more impact because your life total has been like less pressure on that, and then like the game goes a little bit longer. So we'll see if we get to that point, or if it's just going to be a bunch of burn spells. Because I definitely have seen times where Will has just said like, okay, I'm going to ignore the board and I'm just going to play to my outs and just throw all the burn spells at your face and try and win that way. So there is definitely a turning point there. We'll see how quickly that gets like identified and if that comes into play. But
also worth noting that Will has 3 main deck lava darts and then he has 2 pyroclasms in the sideboard. So he's pretty ready for this matchup. So
yep.
I think we're good to go.
All right, yeah, let's jump down the match if you want to let our players know.
Yep. All right, just send it to him.
All right,
I'll
bring up Goblin Lackey since that's usually one of the key cards whenever Goblins is playing. But
Jeff mulled to 6, and
okay.
then Will's at the full group of 7.
Yep. So Jeff is on the play for this match.
That helps.
Yep.
But again, it's gonna be hard for that to land. Always the coolest, like
Uh,
kind of like misprints, like miscuts or
Arena
whatever
cut,
from Jeff.
miscuts, non-factory cuts.
That's a sweet one.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Fanatic's a good one because, like, it'll deal with his Lavamancer or his kind of his 1-drops too,
Mhm.
without like necessarily wanting to take a burn spell from if you get a burn spell from it, that seems pretty fine. If it means your lackey has a slightly higher chance of surviving.
Yeah, and we talked about all the removal spells that are in Will's list.
hmm
This might be a matchup where there are certain times where you're like, I'm going to play out a Skirk Prospector or a Mog Fanatic, and then have a Lackey on turn 3 or something, and where it's actually strategically correct to do that. I don't.
Here we go. Goblin Patrol.
Hey, he's on patrol.
He is on patrol. I've been listening to the podcast that Will did with Aaron, and I forget the other guy's name, honestly, but it was a good podcast about Slide not too long ago, and it was kind of sold me on the Goblin Patrol as well.
All right. Well, we got an interesting sequence that Goblin King has come down pre-combat.
Ooh, this is gonna be rough.
Yep. So that was giving the pile driver an extra power and mountain walk, and Will had the mid combat shock, and kind of. I
Didn't
mean,
block.
yep. I was to say like I kind of just thought that was going to be Goblin Patrol's chance to ambush, but we see here that I mean I guess like in retrospect it makes sense that you're like if you have a burn spell you might as well pay an extra mana keep your little 2/1 around to keep dealing damage because typically like Sly like really prioritizes dealing the damage. So if you're able to get rid of the pile driver, and plus this pile driver is only dealing 1 damage currently.
Well, I don't know. Did you just see that Goblin Patrol? It just did about 25 damage to Jeff back and forth on his. He was trying to mess around with his life total.
Technology's hard.
Yeah. All right, but it's still yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Ideally a land and a ringleader would be really helpful to Jeff right here to get some cards in hand because this is going to be the chance to get his card advantage while he's not under too much pressure from Will.
Yeah, I was gonna say like just BK has said seems strange to pay Echo instead of trading there. I do agree it seems a little bit weird, but like I definitely understand it, and I don't know
He
like
wants
I feel like
blocks
just
too.
most people would just like snap that block off like just instinctively like I'll trade resources, I don't have to pay Echo or whatever, but there's a lot of benefits of just having a 2/1 in play to chip in. So
Yeah, it starts his clock, right? It shortens the game.
mhm.
All right.
I mean, you could have even made the argument to keep the king around for a little bit and then just get in for 3, and then
Yeah,
deal with it on your turn.
because you get Mount Walk too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
makes sense. I'm hoping to get to play with Goblin King again in the Goblins deck. I haven't played with it in a while. I feel like it's kind of fallen out of fashion just because you've had to deal with so many like I had to put more main deck stuff to deal with enchantments or be more focused on like elves or the mirror match. So I think Goblin King might start popping back around at least as a 1-of because of Matron so making it so tutorable.
okay. So we see Jeff deploying more goblins, a goblin war chief, and then a goblin lackey.
Mhm.
So that lackey is going to be kept at bay in the sense of it's going to have summoning sickness because the war chief is taken out. And the pile
Yep.
driver just gets in for one.
That would have been a great turn if it connected, but yeah, not gonna happen.
All right, we do see a lava dart that'll take care of the lackey.
Yeah, I mean, he's clocking right now with these patrols, so like that low life total is chipping away.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, also when we talked about the absence of like Will not trading that spot, but every turn Jeff has also had the option of leaving the pile driver back to block the. So it's
True.
both players are choosing like not to exchange these cards in some way or another.
Ooh, he just done a lava dart face. Interesting.
Having 2 lava darts in the graveyard is kind of neat because like you can tap out and then still deal with a 2 toughness creature. Or maybe we just have enough burn spells. So Fire Blast will put Jeff down to 8. So there's a Barbarian Ring for 6, and then the Lava Darts for 4. So we still need a little bit more here. I guess the Goblin. Okay, so the Barbarian Ring is taking out the Pile Driver, and then the
Interesting.
Goblin gets in for down to 6. Okay, so is this a?
Okay, so he's effectively at 4, right? Because of the two
Yep.
whatchamacallits in the yard.
2 Lava Darts. Well, and here
Okay.
like you can exchange the Lava Dart for 2 more damage because of the Goblin
Yep.
Patrol. But
Yeah, that cuts into your mana. But you at this point, like if you draw a 3-drop, you're gonna effed. But okay, float.
a curse girl.
Yeah.
So that makes
Be a
it
lot better if you had two more mountains. But okay.
okay. So he does
Alright.
use one of the lava darts, takes care of the Skirk prospector, so that the Goblin Patrol can get him for 2.
I feel like the last card in Jeff's hands is Siege Gang.
You're just feeling it.
I'm feeling it, yeah. He wants to draw a basic mountain right here, so he doesn't take any damage from fetching or anything. Okay, that's a blocker.
We'll see if I have a feeling that Jeff might offer this exchange if he's given the.
Oh,
the
he
option.
absolutely would.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Will is not willing to attack, and here we see a ringleader that in theory should refresh Jeff's hand. We see a mountain Mog Fanatic and a ringleader.
Ringleader. Okay, but still, you're at 4 life, which is only 1 spell from 1 3 mana damage spell because he's still got 1 more lava dart, right?
Well, I
So
would say
you're
like
still living on the edge here.
here, like you might not attack here, and then because you have the Mog Fanatic, so the Mog. Ooh, he could.
Ooh, don't take that pain. Okay.
All right, so
I mean, maybe it feels like it's whatever.
Well, so this allows him to attack with both his turns, so that is dealing an extra 5 points of damage. But
That's true.
3 is a life total. I guess with 3 with the lava dart in the graveyard,
Yeah,
but there are cards like Shock and Seal of Fire, and we do see the Shock off the top, and so going down to that 3. While at first we're saying it didn't matter because of, or we thought it was a big deal because of Bolt, it's really just because the lava dart was in the graveyard, and going down to 2 was the big deal. So yeah, it's a tough call in that spot to take that extra point of damage, but I mean, I can see like dealing a chunk of 5 and then opportunity also cuts off like a draw step from Will.
Well, he had one mountain, right? So really, when you're at 4 life and he has a lava dart in the yard, the only thing that kills you is Bolt, because all the 2 damage spells cost all the 2 damage spells are not going to be enough, and then the whatchamacallit, the other Incinerate costs 2 mana, so then you need 2 cards. You need another mountain and the Incinerate to turn that on. So
I agree
really,
there, but like you're also, if you don't deal 5 points of damage there, then you like also are likely giving Will a whole nother turn anyways to draw another burn spell. But I don't know what the math is in terms of like the average, how many points of burn you are over 1 or 2 draws or whatever it would be. So
yeah. I mean, Jeff was in a tough spot either way. Like he obviously didn't want to give him any turns, but he was going to probably give him 2 to 3 draw steps anyway. Probably at least 2 draw steps anyway.
Okay, so I have the list up for Jeff. He's got 3 Tormod's Crypt, a Red Elemental Blast, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Tranquil Domain, 3 Naturalize, 1 Caller of the Claw, and 3 Pyrokinesis. None of these cards are like, oh yeah, let's bring this in against Sly. I'm not excited. I don't know. I guess I would bring in Caller of the Claw ? But
Yeah,
actually,
sure.
I'll
I mean,
say
that's probably your best bet.
you know that Will has Wasteland,
Mm-hmm.
and so your Carplusion Forests might not stay in play, and you don't all like sometimes fetching the green is kind of like problematic. So it might just be better just saying like it that small upside of the color of the claw is outweighed by like the chance of it like getting caught in my hand,
Right.
and so maybe isn't even worth it. Um, I'm not sure.
Like, do you probably take out the? I mean, Curse Scroll's good against you, but it only has one and then one more on the board, so there's not that many.
Yep,
So like, do you even leave in like your Hull Breach?
probably
Is
not
that
Hull
worth it?
Breach.
Probably not, right?
You could take
Do you-
out like Tinker also is kind of like that in that spot there where it's like pretty low impact.
yeah.
Sharpshooter is a card that I've seen people board out against slide just because it's clunky when a lot of your cards get exchanged and a 3 mana 1/1 isn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm not that excited about the cards that Jeff can bring in. So
Right. I think it's a tough one.
okay,
Whereas for Will, it's pretty easy. You're bringing in those two pyroclasms, and the second Curse Scroll, and then maybe taking out what pups or the sulfuric vortex. You could take that out. Aaron Dick swears by a price of progress against elves, which I mean
against
against
goblins,
goblin.
yeah,
Yeah, he does. He was saying it's good. I could see maybe one or two because if you have a bunch of the Carplusions and Wasteland, I guess is really all. I mean, there's no Mossfire Valleys in his deck. There's no City of Brasses like I have, so maybe it's not as good. It's basically all basics except for 4 Carplusion Forests
yeah. I
and
mean,
the
I can
Wasteland,
see
which can
the idea
get
of
rid
like
of.
taking out like a jackal pup, but also if you like, it does a good job of that exchange that we kind of saw of like
Hmm.
I'm going to use my remove spells on your creatures so that my creature can be a repeatable source of damage. And if you take out too many of those, then that's less likely. I mean, I know Will is not the biggest fan of Ball Lightning, and
Hmm.
like the Goblin stack, if they have a Mog Fanatic and play the Ball Lightning, is pretty embarrassing. And like if they're able to leave up 2 mana with some number of goblins, then Gem Home Incinerator can be a good exchange. Those are kind of somewhat situational, and you do have some control of how powerful those are. But like
Hmm.
sometimes ball lightning is kind of clunky. But I don't know if it would be. I don't like the sulfuric vortex. I think you spending 3 mana sorcery to not impact the board can backfire.
Yeah,
Um,
that's definitely coming out. That this isn't the match for that.
so, but, but yeah, I would expect the pyroclasm to come in. Yeah, I think the curse scroll's good, but that's really I think um, the extent of the sideboarding, I would assume, but I've been surprised with how people sideboard and change the dynamic of a match. So
Okay, I'm gonna tell them to start when they're ready.
yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. I haven't seen any mulligans yet. Have you?
Uh, no, we'll see if they. Yeah, it looks like Jeff. Oh no, just Jeff's
Oh no,
just
he's
fetching.
catching.
Um,
Okay.
I
Maybe
thought.
it's just my matches where some people go down to 4 every time. So
Do you have like a little voodoo doll that like a little?
well, I've gone down to 4 myself. So
Okay,
like
all right.
I don't know. It doesn't work. It's not just one sided. Um. Okay, Lackey, best start, but there's plenty of answers. Yep, that's being tapped and seal. Oh, he's even got mixed art seal of
Yep,
fires.
yep.
Fascinating. This Will Hirst keeps me on my toes. All right. Well, Jeff's whole game plan obviously wasn't all about that connecting. So I think we're gonna see something on either hopefully another one drop, or get. Oh, here comes the Battle Driver.
It could be multiple one drops, but
Could be multiple one drops.
or a Goblin Tinker.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just tinkering. Ooh, we do see green mana activated, so like that was something that we were surprised in the match that you played of like when you got that forest. We didn't even know if you were going to have naturalize in your post board deck, and so
Yeah.
seeing that is an indication, I guess, of what Jeff likely has in his.
It doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. It dies. It kills itself. Ah, that's so funny because it's a goblin in play.
Okay, but couldn't he have? Oh, I guess Jeff wanting to use his mana in that spot. I would say
Yeah.
like
Huh.
I was saying why wasn't he waiting for Will
Oh,
to.
Gem Palmans. Oh, the poor patrol. Thought he was cool. X is the number of goblins on the battlefield, not just on his side. It's
Yes.
just, yeah, that's funny.
Right. War Chief
That
gets
was
played
sick.
from Jeff, but there is a shock at the ready for Will to take that, and so the board is clear once again. But Will is on one land, so this is
Yeah.
a spot where definitely like we talk about exchanging resources, and just because Will isn't able to deploy them at the same speed, then he's bottlenecked on mana. And
Oh,
ooh, we're
got to
see
play out of jump home. That's
all
not
right.
great.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the idea I think of that. If Will is bottleneck, he pretty much has to answer like every spell, and so
It's kind of the idea that he didn't have another 3-drop or a 4-drop. That's why he played that.
sure.
That's the whole idea.
And I guess we should note the wasteland that is um, on the side of Jeff. So if Will ever draws a barbarian ring or wasteland of his own, Jeff can say,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'll exchange my non-basic for yours." And since Jeff doesn't have any other non-basics currently, he only loses one. But
Right. Carplusion, ringleader, pile driver, pile driver. Nice one. There you go. You like ancestral recall with your 2/2 hasters? Because I do.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
all right. So here we see a spot where like Will's kind of falling behind on the board.
I mean, that Gem Palm Incinerator is so glad he got to attack. You know, he's never done it before, so he's just like it was just strange and like he got to connect with the face of the opponent. Like,
I think we were talking about this
new
in
kind of feeling for him.
our pregame before when we were on break that like
Yeah.
Incinerator just never gets to be in play, and here we see
No,
like,
he doesn't know what to do. He's
Uh,
just like, I guess I'll hit you in the face. Okay.
like Jeff White's Incinerator heard you. He's like, "Hey, I am showing up today.
I'm
I'm ready to work."
ready to rumble. Here we go. I can not only kill things when they're least expecting it, but I can also attack for 2.
He's like, "I'm normally behind the scenes, but today I'm a floor manager, so I'm
I'm
helping
in
out."
front of the camera.
A frontline guy, yeah.
Here we go. Another ringleader.
All right, so the goblins are just getting vomited on the board.
Looks like only one hit. Okay, matron. Goblin mom. All right, attacks. All right, Seal of Fire probably takes out the War Chief. That's the biggest threat. And take 4.
That is a
Nice.
lightning bolt.
Oh my god, what? I don't even know what that's from.
That is the it was like a Grand Prix promo.
I can recognize like obviously the M10 lightning bolt and the one that was the players rewards, the full art one. But after that, I can't tell you the lightning bolt outside of the Chris Rush
I'll say I know that one, especially since I have a few. So I was still
of the Grand Prix one.
yeah. So,
Okay. All right, here's another War Chief. Yep, here comes Pile Driver.
backup War Chief and then a pile driver and then
Just go.
another pile driver.
Yeah, I think the card advantage has shown its power here. Like I think, I'm sure he's gonna have a removal spell for the War Chief to like buy him a turn, but like, still he's gonna have 3 attackers next turn that are gonna be pumping in for what 12.
So I'll just note
he's
in
gonna have a lot of
sequencing, Will did have priority. Oh, I guess if Jeff still had an extra mana, then it really wouldn't have impacted things. I was gonna say that Will could have bolted the
In response to the first one, yeah.
Yeah. All right, barring a pyroclasm, or a pyroclasm, then I think Jeff's in pretty good shape here. This is a lot of damage. This is like this Gem Palm Incinerator is like I'm dealing so much damage in this spot.
He's attacked twice now, 3 times,
and he's pumping up 2 pile drivers.
Oh god, he's so proud of himself now.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's pumping up 1 pile driver.
Yeah, he's pumping, but still, it's the most he's ever done.
Yeah.
When he's like showing on the stage. All right, here, bring down mom, or
the Caller of the Claw.
Bring out the bears.
All right. Caller of the Claw comes down.
I feel like okay, that's enough for Jeff or for Will.
For Will, yeah.
All right, good one. I mean, that obviously Will lost the tempo because he never got a 3rd land,
Mhm.
and so that was kind of he was rarely able to double spell, but I think Ringleader won that game. You know what I mean? It just kept refilling and it just kept putting out more threats.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, Gem Palm Incinerator.
Gem Palm Incinerator. Let's give credit where credit's due. This is his one opportunity.
Let's not discount that tempo play. That was really important for Jeff.
We're just chalking this one up to that Gem Palm Incinerator. It might be the only one he'll ever get, but he won that game.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did not mean to disrespect the Jump Home Incinerator. You know I'm a big fan of that card, but like, man, he attacked 3 times, hit the people in the face, and pumped up another. Oh man,
Yeah.
he's so proud. I'm telling you, that's a gold star. I would give him a gold star Jump Home Incinerator right there.
Yeah. He's like one of those guys, like when they're out on the battlefield, you kind of have to worry about him because he has not seen the front line very often. So you worry like when
No.
the bullets go by and his buddies are dropping, you think he
Yeah.
might like freeze up or something. No, he kept charging in there. So good job,
Yeah,
Jump Home Incinerator.
when I used to play Risk with my friends back in like high school, if you ever had a country that like where a single soldier, a single like troop was defending against a big army and then survived like 3 rolls in a row, we ended up like painting its hat like
Okay.
gold because like it deserved like a gold star, as like a real hero of the Republic or something. So I mean
Did that give it
again,
a bonus in the game, or that just was just a mental note,
that was just a mental
history?
note, and then
Okay.
you'd see it later, like throughout history. It's like
Yeah.
that guy, he really protected Camp Chaka for like six invasions in a row. We should have had some different rules where they're actually like all the if it ever attacks, it gets like an extra like bonus, like an
Sure.
extra like point on a roll or something like that. That would have been good side rule. I haven't played Risk in a while. That's a great game.
I've never played Risk.
Really? Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
I mean, like
Um,
I know of it, but like yeah,
it's a game that takes a long time if you try to do like the whole world domination,
yeah,
much like Monopoly. So like if you play it with your family, it's going to take a while, and like people are going to start getting really mad at each other.
yeah.
But it's still a great one. I actually played some Clue when I was over the 4th of July weekend with my in-laws, and man, I destroyed them. I just like
I
I was just like I don't know if it's from playing Magic for so long, but you pick up on like what people are
I was gonna
doing and
say
like what
like
they're not saying.
because I
Like
haven't played that game like since I like started playing Magic, so that
yeah,
I can't conceptualize of like where the skills would translate. I just remember
oh,
there
it
was one time
translates.
like I remember playing and just someone like guessed something like on like the second turn, and we're all just looking at each other like I can't disprove that, and then they just like
Mhm.
got it right. I'm like, well, that's like never happened.
No, that's not. But I had one where I went through it and guessed it like on the second turn. Nobody had an answer, but it was still like I was searching for something as opposed to like getting it right away.
All right. Well, we got.
Oh, good answer.
Should we sign everyone clue names? Who's Professor Plum or Colonel Mustard?
Well, I guess they would both be Miss Scarlet,
Miss
as they're both the
Scarlet.
red decks. I guess more like Will's pure red, so he's Miss Scarlet, and then I guess you could have who's the green one? I guess because he has a green splash and a green goblin, so that would be Mr. Green. No,
Is it
I
just
can't
Mr.
remember.
Green?
Maybe just Mr. Green. It's Colonel Mustard and it's Professor Plum, so I think it's just Mr. Green. Yeah,
There's Miss White, right?
Miss White and then Miss Peacock.
Okay.
Yeah,
I always played as Mr. Green, and I still can't remember the name. So, all
yeah.
right, we got Goblin Tinker. So we've just got like all the unexpected goblins just coming out to play.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't trade the Fanatic for the Lavamancer.
Well, he has. I guess like that would have been a spot to do it because, well, I was gonna say like there you could have done it without any worry of like an activation, but then also like these aren't goblins you particularly care about.
Wait,
Like,
hold on, time out. He also lava darted Jeff's face. He didn't lava dart the Fanatic. That's
um,
interesting.
oh, that's a shock though.
Oh, so he shocked the face. I'm
Okay.
sorry. So he I guess Will didn't care about the creatures. All right. Okay. But I still that's interesting. I mean he's just saying, well, your Fanatic and your and your Tinker are not big threats, and I guess I'll just ride this Lavamancer. But again, it should be noted, has missed 2 land drops.
Yes, and that's I think the biggest factor here that
Hmm.
um oh, the Goblin King.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is definitely. I mean, he's got to have a fan full of bolts and shocks, I would have to think. But
Yeah, I would say like if one was deployed at Jeff's face, I have to assume he's got other ones. But is this?
yeah, you can't block. I mean, as long as we're at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I guess the decision's pretty binary here, right? Like, you either kill the king or you take the damage. I don't.
Yeah, that's it. And he doesn't have enough in the graveyard to activate Lavamancer, so that's off the board.
I guess if you kill the king, then you have a choice of whether you're blocking the Mog Fanatic, but
He could, in theory, sack the mountain to like use the lava dart to like
that's a
and
shock,
then
though.
then use the. No, oh shit! I'm sorry. Never mind.
I'm
I gotta trust you on these things.
I'm
I just
pretty sure. Maybe I'm. Yeah. The lava dart art is different.
Because he hits at 17, and I think he's fetched once and then
Yeah.
shocked. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So we're still in this combat phase. So the attacks have been made. They're each pumped up, and they both have mountain walk. So there's definitely. I mean, I wonder what Will's thinking about here.
I guess in theory, you could use a lava dart to sacrifice your mountain, and then it no longer has mountain walk.
That
you
is
don't have
true.
any mountains. Well, it still has mountain walk, but it's just you don't have any mountains.
Okay. What is that? Is that a lightning bolt?
This one I don't know.
Okay.
It's a faithless looting. I don't know. An instant speed faithless looting.
Okay, so he ended up taking 2 from the attacks, and then he took him out with the fanatic. I
Okay.
guess that was a fine play by Jeff. All right, second mountain. All right, Tinker is not a very good attacker, but he could use a friend. I'm sure he's gonna get one soon.
What if that friend's a Jump Home Incinerator? Nope, it's a Goblin Ringleader.
God, if Jump Home made it to the battlefield twice, I would love that. Oh boy, here we go. War Chief and Fanatic are in. That's good. You'll take that. Rolling for 3. Incinerate the. Ooh.
Who knows? 2 lava darts.
2 lava darts.
I
Okay.
mean, this is not a great exchange for Will, mostly just because like you don't have the luxury of sacrificing mountains.
Do not.
And this like Jeff's life total is not pressured, and so Will like has like 3 cards in hand. So this is gonna. I'm gonna guess that this is quickly gonna get out of hand. From. I mean, I guess Pyroclasm might be a card that, like, if Jeff overextends, but
yeah, I mean Jeff has to kind of worry about that. But there's only 2 of them, so not like there's 4. But Matron, yeah, God, I love that card. Okay, go Matron up, probably another ringleader or Siege Gang, because you're just gonna want reloads.
Yep. Gonna get a ringleader.
Card's sick. I'm a big fan. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna we're gonna try to rumble in for some damage, but again, he's gonna probably just bolt it or something. Because the War Chief can't really stick around. And again, Jeff's mana base, completely resilient to the Wastelands.
Yes.
So they're not getting knocked out on anything. I'd like to enter combat. I would like to roll with my homies. Yeah, but War Chief deserves to die, any way that Will can do it, because that is just such a cheat.
Did you know that the art of Goblin War Chief features around his neck is the ruby medallion, like from Tempest?
What?
They all so.
Oh my goodness.
So you could see that. I don't know, maybe so around his neck's a little red ruby medallion, and then that's reference.
Ruby medallion. Oh my god. Oh my god. I never noticed that before.
And I think all of the. I think the corrosion one has that, the emerald. I think they all have that.
Oh, crashed him with the ball lightning. Okay. That flips some life totals, but now, what else you got, Will? I think he's laying down on 1 card.
It doesn't look as ruby medallion as I thought, but I thought I read that somewhere. But
I'll believe it. It makes sense. Yep, here we go. Ringleader. Oh, he wants to tap. No, I think you want a second red. Yeah. You could double spell like the there's Jump Home, our buddy. Okay.
I'll like to note that Bob has entered the chat just to note. Typically what he does is he comes in when someone's playing a red deck just to note that people are playing the wrong mountains. That's what he just says that every time. So hello Bob, hope you're doing well.
What are the correct mountains? What are the correct mountains?
The Goblin Mountain from Mirage is what
The Goblin Mountain from Mirage. Okay. I'm a big fan of the beta, classic like Dark Beta Mountain, or one of the originals, or I like the other Sunset Mirage, over the I think it's a John Avon. Of course, it's John Avon. It's always John Avon. All right, yeah, he got the double 1-drop here, and he's got the Fanatic, so he's not worried about another Ball Lightning coming in. But Jeff looks like he's in a good spot. Ringleader's doing their jobs, and
yeah, barring that a card like Pyroclasm.
Right. Yeah, just roll with what you got.
That Gem Palm Incinerator is like, put me in, coach.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to do this thing. Looks like he's playing defense, I guess. He's staying in the hand.
Yeah, if Ball Lightning comes in, then he's ready to just kind of take that guy out. I don't think you need to. I would just have him hold back, draw a card.
I guess the Mog Fanatics kind of doing double duty on that, but
yeah, he is.
We'll give the credit to the Gem Palm Incinerator.
Oh, Jeff wants to shut the door. Jeff's got Siege Gang mana ready to go. I think you want to save for a reload.
You could probably Siege Gang. You have enough to kill him with Siege Gang, right? If he goes down to 5, you have 1 mana available plus a Mog Fanatic for. Yeah, you'd have enough with a Skirk Prospector. You could just kill him then.
Oh, this is a juicy target for that Gem Palm now. Yep. Zoink. Yeah. Right. Gem Palm it. Get rid of that blocker. Draw a card. All right. Attacking for essentially lethal, but I'm sure he's got a burn spell. But I think playing this conservative was probably fine. Well, if he's got a 7th mana here, then I think then you can also play Siege Gang, probably burn out for the last 2. But I think you get your attack in first.
Sure.
Or 2 mana, or another Ringleader.
I guess you could do a pre-combat, because then it would mean that any removal spell pointed at a goblin would translate to 2 extra damage.
Yep. And I think he's just got 1 card. Oh, come on, Jeff. Where are your real tokens?
He's like, this game will not be going on long.
Yeah. No, there it is.
All right.
There we go.
We see, I guess, a bit of an upset. I always talked about how Will is afraid of this match, and I didn't think it was something that the Goblins was very favored in. But we see with some stumbles out of the gates from Will I think this game was only 1 turn that he missed a land drop, and then he got to 2 or 3.
I think it was 2.
Quick. Okay.
Because he was on the play, and Jeff was out 3 mana while Will was still at 2. Or at 1, excuse me. So I think he missed 2 land drops.
The games were very different, I think, because of that.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump down to the players. They're probably talking about Gem Palm Incinerator right now. That's what I would guess.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Jeff, I don't even know if I hit a land game 3 if I'm winning. Like, each game you hit, except the game that you lost, and this has been my experience, is like any game where you hit more than 1 Ringleader, I can't possibly win.
Yeah, that's pretty rough to hit to get such big card advantage.
Yeah, but
you can still probably get there with, like, if I don't have a Mog Fanatic on board, just like some Ball Lightnings and Fire Blasts and shit. Like, it probably happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, it does. It's just a lot harder, and it happens. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Jeff, you guys stand up?
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey.
Gem Palm Incinerator.
Yeah. I put that on the board, and I was like, we just talked about this. He's gonna go yard on this guy.
So stoked for him.
Swinging in there, and using Will's Goblin to get a point of damage off.
Yeah. I would say Will's he's like, I feel like every time that you get 2 Ringleaders, you win the game. I'm pretty sure anytime that you get hit with a Gem Palm Incinerator, like 2 or 3 times, you lose. And that's probably statistically correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or hits with the old Gem Palm.
Yeah.
Did I get 2 Ringleaders off first game? I think it maybe still lost that. I don't remember. Was it 1? I don't recall.
It was just 1.
I was just getting too low. I forgot that Will's playing Burn, and I just keep attacking for 1, and he's coming over for 2.
I was like it caught me off guard, like that just the king dying, and we're like, oh, that goblin patrol gets in the way right away, and then it didn't, and we're like, that makes sense. Like the more we talked about it, and then we're kind of like, well, actually, like, I mean, Jeff has the option of trade this pile driver later, and you guys were both kind of denying that exchange, and yeah, that was an interesting thing of how you both prioritizes that. So
yeah, I probably should have played that one a little more slowly. I'm used to like ripping haste cards off the top and getting in for a bunch with pile driver, but that just doesn't happen against Sly.
No.
And I mean, at the end, it turned out to be pretty close. Had I played that maybe a little more slowly and maybe tapped that Carpals and Forest instead of my mountain to cast the old ringleader.
was that on that same turn?
Yeah, it was on the same turn. I had the mountain in my hand, and I didn't think that far ahead, unfortunately, where I was like, oh, I'm probably going to draw a 1-drop here. Probably need to tap this Carpals and Forest. But, mistake there. But I don't know. We'll probably have that game anyway.
I mean, the game was close. I don't know. It's all about little edges. It's who stumbles, who draws better. I mean, the people who say that this matchup is highly in Sly's favor, I would disagree. Or maybe I'm just the unluckiest Sly player against Gabos. But no, it was rough. I mean, not drawing mana sucks. See Aaron in the chat over there. He's definitely right. Ringleader equals pointing to face. So maybe I start pointing to face earlier. But just multiple ringleaders really suck. I can't keep up with that. Didn't see a Pyroclasm, but anytime you fetch green, I assumed you had a Caller of the Claw in your hand. So I don't know how much it would have mattered.
Bluff game 3. This is my first time actually Caller. I drew it on the last turn, but it's my first time with Caller of the Claw. I mean, people who've played it more in the sideboard probably have better opinions. It seems like the Goblins deck is tapped out more often than not. It's just clunky. It can get there. It can do a powerful thing, but it's fairly clunky.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
When it works, it's great. When you just like when they play your stuff away and you're like, oh, cool. I got a bunch of bears now, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. It's more like style points. It's kind of like a huge boner breaker for your opponent. They, even if they're ahead or not, they just might want to concede because you just did that to them.
Coming in strong with the right to bear arms.
Yeah, we were debating a little bit before the match. Like, we were not sure what we were going to be playing against. I was sure I wasn't playing against Stasis. But
I thought for sure Will was going to bring the Fluctuator.
I didn't want to.
Back to back.
Well, not even that. It's Goblins, at least in the limited I did, can be annoying when they had, like, you had, I think, 3 Crypts in your sideboard.
3 Crypts. And I have, like, the Wastelands main, too. That could slow you down a little bit.
Like, that can happen, and it's just, like, if they ever, like, just mulligan to Crypt for the most part, they're fast enough to, like, pressure me. So that scared me. And the Replenish actually kind of scared me, too. Like, I don't necessarily care if it was, like, counterspells or not, but the abeyances I think you had in your board, I mean,
yeah,
all that stuff scared me, but maybe I should have. I felt more confident playing Sly, as all those matchups felt fine to me. And if it was Goblins, then it's 50-50 at worst. So I went with where I was comfortable, but
that
didn't work
sense.
out.
Yeah, I guess I think in my mind, there's just like Fluctuator just has these matchups that they like always win, I'll say, and that's not the truth. You just talked about like how the situation like sideboarding like really comes into play and can really be problematic for the Fluctuator deck. So I think in my mind I overvalue like certain matchups of how good they are or not. So
yeah, I mean,
but there are some. I mean, like Elves, for example, cannot interact with Fluctuator at all.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, like we all knew I couldn't play Elves this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably more correct to play Fluctuator. It's probably my best week to have played Fluctuator, but Yeah, call cold feet. I went with what I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, yeah. I think it's still it's a classic match in Premodern. The old Sly versus the Goblins. It's just one's fast, one's basically plays the control, and the other one tries to get the card advantage through a couple of its cards. So I always enjoy it, and the incinerator just made me so happy. So just to see that guy rumbling in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good night for goblins, and Jeff, you're finally on the board now. So
yes, thank you. I was just telling Will, it's been a humbling experience playing with all you stud players. I'm not used to losing this much on camera, but it's still fun.
Well, I mean, we've seen weirder things than I think people who've started off 03 have gotten to the playoffs in the PSS. So I think that's happened multiple times. So do not count yourself out, and a lot of things can change. So.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Top Boy.
So pleasant.
All right. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we let you go? I think we have our players for our next round, which is actually our round 4, since Rich is currently out ill. So we're going to be playing a shorter night this week. But do you guys have anything to say, add, or...
sorry about the land, Will, but good games. They were tight nonetheless.
It happens. No worries at all. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Jeff, always a great pleasure to play you. And you know what? Next week we'll just come and I'll just have to beat Tom to make myself feel better.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just bounce back and start winning again. So.
Yep, absolutely.
All right,
Bye, guys.
With that, yep. We'll see you guys later, and we'll take a quick break as we get our players set up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.